And of course, on occasion, I will record some lectures or at least grammar explanations. So if you didn't catch it all in class, and the tab is actually, lectures. You can't read it. Trust me, it's there. You can go there where it says lectures and you can, watch Santos over and over again. Okay, if there's a specific explanation that you need. This is also, once again, just in case you need to isolate or you need to be out of class, because of COVID, you can log in and watch whatever, grammar explanation I gave that day. Because trust me, like just reading it from a book isn't the easiest way to grasp a language principle. Okay, so if you log into your Blackboard, it should appear. Right now there's nothing. Obviously it's our first day, but like I said, I will be loading, probably another copy of the syllabus in case you lose yours. First one's free, second one you just have to come up here and get it. And of course, on the days when I post any kind of slides, I'll put them up there for you, and grammar explanations and whatnot. Okay, so we have that as a supplement. All right, and let's turn that off so we don't need it today. All right, then un poquito bit of español. All right, por favor, I'd like to get to know just a little bit about y'all's experience and background with español. So don't worry, I'll teach you. If anyone has taken Spanish before, do you remember, do you know what me llamo means? My name. Okay, so this is how you introduce yourself. Okay, so me llamo, and then give us your name, whatever it is that you wish to be called. Okay, me llamo, and then your name. Okay. Soy de?
Today is.
Not quite.
Okay,
that's okay, that we're here to learn. Okay, soy de means I am from. Okay, I am from. All right, and so you would give the place then. Okay, that's the only part you have to do in Espanol right now. Well, for the next few minutes. Okay, después, later, or next, I would like you to share any Spanish experience or background. Okay, so like I said, if you've never taken a language before, then tell us I've never taken Spanish before. If you studied it for 1 year in high school, 1 year in high school. Okay, if you took a trip to Cancun when you were 16, I went to Cancun for a week at 16. Okay, if your neighbor is from Guatemala, my neighbor is from Guatemala, and I hear them screaming all the time, so I know the swear words. All right, so for example, okay, I'll start with myself. Me llamo Señor Santos. Okay, my name's Mr. Santos. Soy de California. All right, I was born and raised in Southern California. I think I already said it. My parents were from Mexico, though. My experience, I guess that counts with my experience. My parents were from Mexico, so I spoke Spanish growing up. I've been to Mexico many times. I lived in Argentina. I've been to Spain. And I'm a Spanish teacher, so I pretty much speak it almost on a daily basis. Okay? That's it for now. All right? Senor, you look eager to share.
Me llamo Ellis. Soy de New York, and I took 2 years in Spanish high school.
In high school? Okay. Muy bien. Excelente. Okay. Señorita.
Me llamo Natalia, or Natalie.
Natalia es español.
Yeah. Soy de New Hartford, and I had a couple years in high school Spanish.
Okay. Excelente. Señorita, in the back.
Me llamo Yuzune, soy de Japón. I've never learned Spanish before.
Never. Oh my God. But you learned English. Yes. So you have experience with learning a language. Muy bien. I know I asked you this yesterday, but for la clase, what part of Japón?
Do you know Nagoya? Yeah, it's between Tokyo and Osaka.
Okay, muy bien, gracias. Okay, and good job knowing what Japan was in Spanish. All right, so muy bien. Most of my Japanese students are like, soy de Japan. I'm like, no, Japón. Muy bien. Señor.
Me llamo Rob, soy de Whitesboro, New York, and I took Spanish in 8th and 9th grade.
Okay, and then.
I went to Puerto Rico for a week and a half, and my parents used to speak it a little bit growing up, but.
Are they Hispanic or?
My mom was from Puerto Rico.
Okay, muy bien.
So,
All right, so you have a little Latin blood.
a little bit.
Okay, muy bien, perfecto. Señorita.
Me llamo Liliana. Soy de Deerfield, so like on the outskirts of Utica. I did end up taking Spanish 1, 2, and 3, and I have taken it 2 years.
Okay.
So,
Está bien, you're in the right place. What high school did you take it at?
Whitesboro.
In Whitesboro. Okay. Who did you have as a teacher?
I had multiple, but I had a lot of teachers.
Okay, all right. On occasion, I know 1 or 2 of them. So. Finalmente, señor.
Me llamo Alan. Buen día. Soy de Little Falls, pero cuando yo soy pequeño,
Okay.
chico, yo soy de California.
All right, muy bien.
Yo estudio de español desde 1 año
Mm-hmm.
au université quand je suis jeune.
No francés, no French.
Désolé.
Your French is slipping out.
Pardon.
Está bien. All right, perfecto. All right. Yeah, I'll probably be like, no francés. It happens to students that also study Italian, and they're like, now I'm taking Spanish, and suddenly they'll whip off in Italian. I'm like, no Italiano. All right. So I do this numero uno to just kind of let you know that for the most part, I think there's 1 or 2 exceptions. Espanol?
A little bit.
No, are you here for Espanol class? Okay. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Aaliyah Bernard.
You're not on my list.
I just got my schedule yesterday. They said I could still come to my class.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll just have to get an updated sheet. Okay. Well then, you're just in time because I thought we were done introducing ourselves. Pero, en español, por favor, your name, me llamo, and then your name. Soy de, I am from, and then where you claim to be from. And then, of course, any and all Spanish experience, like if you've studied it before.
So just read it all?
Yes, sí.
Me llamo Aaliyah, soy de Utica, and I took Spanish class in elementary school.
But nothing since then?
No.
Oh, okay. Está bien. Excelente. All right. As I was saying, I do this so that basically, with 1 or 2 exceptions, everybody's in the same boat. Okay. So we're going to have fun. We're going to learn Espanol. Yes, we will be speaking. Okay. And so, to that end, all right, if you do have El Libro, okay, you don't need it today, all right, but if you do have it, it's nice to have. If you could open up to page dos, okay, like I said, not necessary, but, okay, if you have it with you, page dos will help. We're going to work on some basic greetings, okay, and some introductory stuff. Now, before we jump into that, okay, one of the things about Espanol, and we actually see this in a lot of other languages, when you are speaking to someone in English, en inglés, typically we address them as you, okay? If I were to say, I need you to sit down, I want you to listen to what's going on, okay? You know, we always have that word, or even if I just say, be quiet, all right? Literally, I mean, you be quiet, all right? In Espanol, though, we have 2 words that mean you, okay? The first one is tú, The second one is usted. Those of you that have studied Espanol before, okay, do you remember the difference?
Usted is formal.
Okay, and so what is tú?
Informal.
All right, what does that actually mean?
Well, like if I was talking to you, I would use usted, or like someone, I guess above you, like the president, I would use usted. But like,
Okay.
my classmates, I would use tú.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, good explanation. So, usted is what we call the formal. Okay, tú, some teachers call it informal. I like to call it the familiar. That's just me, though. Okay, if you call it the informal, you're fine. Okay, now, with whom do we use tú? Okay, I want to say Natalia gave us a few examples, okay, of usted. But let's start with tú, all right? Now, número uno. If you're speaking to your close friends or your family, okay, you use tú, all right? This is why I like calling it the familiar, because it reminds me that it's family, okay? So you're speaking to your brother, your sister, your parents, okay? Or, in this case, your best friend, all right? Stuff like that, okay? Número dos. Because it extends beyond just friends and family, peers, okay? And no, not, I've had students be like, were boats parked? No, okay? In this case, it's P-E-E, P-E-E-R-S. What is a peer? How would you define it?
Your classmates.
Okay, a classmate. Alan?
Your social equal.
Okay, social equal. All right, I like that. Okay, I usually tell my students, a peer is someone that you have a shared experience with, okay? So either socially or, a classmate, whatever. For the next 14 weeks, all of you are peers. Because what's the one thing that you're sharing? Each and every one of you. This class, yes, this class. Okay, so it doesn't matter that you're not friends or that you're not related. Okay, socially, you're all suffering with Mr. Santos together. Okay, so you're peers. Okay, now this one kind of goes to what Natalia was explaining, but kind of in reverse. Okay, and I apologize, I'm not an artist. If you're in a higher social status position, let's say, you address those that are lower than you as tú. Okay? So, teacher to students. Okay? I know Espanol, you know nothing. All right? So, I treat you as tú. Okay? Your manager or supervisor at work, they're in charge, you're underneath them, okay? Your whatever religion you practice, your priest, your minister, your rabbi, your pastor, you're his followers or his congregation or her, okay? So typically, if you're in a higher position, you address those underneath you as tú. Okay? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, anybody who is visibly younger than you. Okay? And I always have to write visibly because it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm 20 and you're 19, so I get to talk, I'm superior. No, I'm way older than Natalie. So even if she wasn't my student, I would still address her as tú, okay? Just by virtue of the fact that I am much older than her, okay? Now, for most of you, a 10-year-old kid comes up to talk to you, okay? And I wanna say, Alex, Okay. And it's obvious that Alex is much older than 10. At least, actually, you are. Okay. All right. How old are you?
19.
Okay, so way older than 10. All right. This 10-year-old would address Alex as usted. Or, no, I'm sorry. Other way. Alex would address this child as tú. Okay? Just because he's so much younger than him. All right? And then finally, and this one's my favorite to share, with your pets, with animals. When you tell your dog to quit barking, when you tell your cat to get off the furniture, you address them in the familiar, okay? I've actually heard Spanish learners address them in the formal, and trust me, it sounds kind of weird, all right? It doesn't quite sit right, all right? Now, what is the formal, okay? Expanding on what Natalie said, and it's kind of the opposite, all right? So if you use the familiar with friends and family, you use the formal with strangers or people you just met. Okay? I'm just going to assume, all right, since this is the first day of our class, that you all maybe don't know each other. Okay? You're all sitting pretty far apart, so I'm going to assume that. I mean, if Natalie and Lillian were BFFs, they'd be like, oh my God, next to each other, we sit in front of you and we're talking, and you know, what did you do this morning? Okay. Or if Rob and you know, if they were friends, they'd be like chatting the whole time. So you just met each other, okay? You are strangers, basically, before you walked into this class. Then yes, you can address each other as usted, okay? Whereas as peers, okay, you can address each other in the familiar if you have and this one's kind of a weird one, if you have and I don't even know if I'm spelling it right in English, if you have a professional relationship or if you're business colleagues or any kind of business relationship.
You want to know how to spell it?
It does. You know what I mean.
Okay.
Did I spell it right?
No.
2 S's.
Well, because this is the Spanish spelling.
Ah.
It actually is. All right. When I'm teaching Spanish, I sometimes get my English and my Spanish mixed up. All right. So profesional, professional. Okay. So if you have a professional relationship or you do business with one another, typically people will address each other as usted, okay, en español, all right? So for example, and I hope you don't mind, Alan, I'm gonna call you out here. Alan and I are actually colleagues, all right? We both work together. So as you know, professional associates, even though we've worked together many years, if we were speaking Spanish to each other, we would address each other as usted. Okay, outside of work though, okay, we could probably address each other in the familiar, right? So that, you know, the wording just slightly changes. So, you know, if you're the cashier at Target, okay, and they always ask you, did you find everything you were looking for? Okay, did you find everything that usted was looking for? Okay, and I always say, I wasn't looking for any of this, so I guess I did. If Alex and I are friends outside of work and he works at Target and I'm the customer, yeah, he would have to say, so customer, did usted find everything that usted was looking for? But then once he gets off work, then yeah, we're friends, so we can address each other in the familiar. Okay, kind of the same thing. All right. The next one, then, donde está la tiza? Okay. All right, the next one. It just goes the other way. Once again, I can't draw. Okay? Students generally address the teacher as usted, okay? Because you're down here and I'm up here, okay? Patients typically address their doctor as usted because you're here, they're up here, okay? What was the other example I gave? people, congregants, whatever, address their pastor, their minister, their priest, okay? Because you're down here and they're up here, all right? So you would address those people as usted, okay? Visibly older, okay? Once again, you don't know me, okay? Let's say I'm not your teacher, okay? But if Natalie here were to see me on the street, I am an old man, okay? She would address me as usted, as a sign of respect, okay? So, excuse me, usted, all right? You know, getting by me and whatnot. Unfortunately, there's no opposite thing for the pets or animals, okay? Unless you're like talking to like a grizzly bear, then, you know, show them respect, all right? All right, no, okay? Now, why am I making such a big deal? Why did I do all of this? Because depending on who you're speaking to will dictate what you actually say to the person, okay? So, here comes the fun part, all right? We'll start with an easy one, all right? Here's where I get my entertainment too. Clase, please repeat. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Does anyone know what that means? What's your name? But it's the familiar form. Obviously, if the person's your friend, you're not going to ask them what your name is, all right? So we can kind of skip that one. Maybe it's a cousin you only see at the family reunions, or an uncle, or, you know, whatever. And you literally don't know I know you're my cousin, and I saw you like 2 years ago at the last family reunion, but ¿cómo te llamas? Okay, what's your name? Okay. Ooh, this is perfect. Alls y'alls, we've already decided, in this class are peers. Okay, all of you, because here's the shared experience. Here's the thing you all have in common, this class. So, if you want to get to know each other, you can quite literally ask each other, ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, what is your name? All right. I, as the teacher, still don't remember most of y'all's names. Okay, so I would be asking you, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay. I am much older. Okay, so. ¿Cómo te llamas, young man? ¿Cómo te llamas, señorita? Okay, young lady. All right. And finally, if I ran into a puppy, I'd be like, oh, ¿cómo te llamas? You know, look at their tag. Okay. Clase, please repeat. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama usted? Okay. That also means, what's your name? But that is the formal way of asking. Who would you ask that to? Well, strangers or people you just met. So, once again, even though you all are peers, you could use the formal with each other because you've literally just met today, okay? Someone just got hired, okay? Or you're now doing business with a new company or a new representative. Okay, hola, mucho gusto. ¿Cómo se llama? Or ¿cómo se llama usted? What's your name? Okay? All y'all's just forgot who I was, all right? So I want to say Rob raises his hand and he says, before you go any further, ¿Cómo se llama? Like, what was your name again, teacher? All right, so what's your name? ¿Cómo se llama? And of course, you know, you see an old man, all right, and I want to say Liliana. Okay, my memory isn't that bad. Wants to know what my name is, so she says, ¿Cómo se llama usted, old man? Okay, and I say, oh, me llamo Santos, all right? Now, why are there two here? Okay, this is where I get to give a little bit of culture. There are 21 different countries that speak Spanish as an official language, okay? Depending on where the person is from, sometimes there will be differences in vocabulary, sometimes there will be differences, there's always a difference in accent, okay? And of course, how certain things are structured, okay? People will understand if you say como se llama, people will understand como se llama usted, but of course I want you to be ready, okay? And not be like, Santos never taught me that. Wait, what's the usted part at the end? Wait, why is he saying that? Because it's already, it just happens depending on where the person is from, okay? And a couple examples I gave in a class yesterday, all right? And it has more to do with like vocabulary, all right? Now I know most of you speak English, okay? We all know what an elevator is. If you've ever been to England though, what is an elevator called? Lift, yeah. Okay? Who's right and who's wrong? Okay? Well, nobody. It's just what it's called in a different country. And so what I call an autobus, someone from the Dominican Republic calls a wawa. It's a funny word to me too, don't worry. Type of thing. Okay? Or, and this one is always funny to me. What is that word? Zebra, okay? Most Americans would pronounce it zebra. In other English-speaking countries, I found out yesterday, even some Canadians call that a zebra, okay? And I tell people, we're the weird ones there, okay? Because I've met South Africans and they call it a zebra. I've met British people, they call it a zebra, I met this girl from Australia, she called it a zebra, And so it's like, oh, I guess we're the only ones that say zebra, okay? So once again, this is just, some people say it one way, some people say it another. If I know specifically, I will tell you, okay? Just FYI, Mexico, we tend to leave off the usted, all right? That's the one I have the most experience with, okay? Now, ¿qué hora es? Mucho tiempo. To answer, all right? I erased it. To answer is the exact same thing you said when you introduced yourself. And it doesn't matter if somebody asks you, ¿Cómo te llamas? Or ¿Cómo se llama? All right? You answer, me llamo, and then your name. Sí.
Do they ever use the pronoun in the familiar? Does anybody say como te llamas tú?
Puerto Ricans.
Ah.
They're pretty much the only ones. And I know, like, when I hear people, I know right away that someone's from Puerto Rico by a couple of things. And one of them is the fact that they say, ¿Cómo te llamas tú? I'm like, ooh, you put the tú at the end, you're Puerto Rican, right? And they're like, how'd you know? Well, one, your accent, and two, the two. So they're the only ones though, which is kind of, I can get into like weird language talk forever, but yeah. Okay, so. De nada, all right? True story, first time I went to Spain, someone was like, oh, you're Mexican. And I always thought that I had a neutral accent in Spanish. And I'm like, how'd you know I was Mexican? And they're like, your accent, it's like so Mexican. And I was just like, really? Like, what? And the guy had to explain to me, it sounds like you're singing, and then also you're using this word constantly, and that's only used in Mexico. And I was just like, you're right. It is. Oh, I better fix my stand. No, but they could pick me out of a lineup, yeah, Mexican accent. All right, so yeah, someone says, ¿Cómo te llamas tú? I know they're Puerto Rican. Or one thing they always say is, ¿Qué tú quieres? ¿Qué tú quieres? What do you want? Instead of just ¿Qué quieres? It's ¿Qué tú quieres? I'm like, oh, you're Puerto Rican. All right, I can tell just by putting the pronoun. So anyways, I'll shut up. I'll give you like 5 seconds, because that's all it should take. Turn to someone, hopefully, you're gonna talk to each other now. Hopefully someone you don't know, I'm assuming y'all don't know each other, and just find out their name, en español, okay? Español, ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Buenos días.
She's nice.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo
Alia. Un gusto, Alia. Me llamo
Okay, muy bien. All right, excellent. See, it was quick, it was easy, it was painless. All right, muy bien. So, let's see. Señor, por favor, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Rob.
Rob, okay? Now, this is a Spanish class, and you okay? And while I typically don't assign Spanish names, I know it's a thing in high school. If your name is Spanishable, or if it has a Spanish version, Roberto, I will throw it out that yes, you are Roberto. Okay? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Alejandro.
Alejandro, muy bien. You can say Alec, and some people actually say Alex también. So, but Alejandro, muy bien. He knows his Spanish name. Okay? Señorita, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Natalia.
Natalia, yes, that is the Spanish of Natalie. Okay? Señorita, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Yasune.
Yusune. Unfortunately, there's no Spanish for Yusune. Okay, lo siento. I'll just call you Yusune. All right? Señorita, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Liliana.
Liliana, and that is also Espanol. Okay, Liliana. All right. Some people, some like younger people go with Lilian also, but Liliana. So, are you Lillian or Liliana?
Liliana.
Okay, so you are Liliana. Okay, slightly different pronunciation. Señorita, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Alia.
Alia? That's not Spanish, but close enough. I'm going to pronounce it in Spanish. Alia. All right. Y señor, ¿cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Alan.
Alan. Okay. Now there is no Spanish for Alan, although people would probably just say it Alan.
Alan. Como francés.
Sí, como francés. All right. So muy bien. Do you speak French?
Un poco.
Un poco. All right.
Désolé.
Sí, sí.
Pardon. Sí.
Okay. Yeah. In this case, I'd reverse it from the Pink Panther. Don't say we, say si. Okay, so muy bien. Okay. Now, so we found out each other's names. Okay. The other thing we shared today was where we were from. So to ask someone, okay, Tisa, and there was some right there. Okay. Clase, please repeat. ¿De dónde eres?
De dónde eres?
Okay. That means where are you from? Okay. ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? Okay. So once again, I guess you could be best friends with someone and not know where they're actually from. All right. Or family. But more than likely, okay, once again, you all are peers. You're getting to know each other, find out where each other's from. Okay, I'm getting to know you. All right, here's me, there's you. I ask you, ¿de dónde eres? Where are you from? Okay, someone who's visibly younger. Okay, I guess we could say a 10-year-old kid comes up and starts bugging you, and Alex says, "Where'd you come from? Like, ¿de dónde eres? Go away." Okay, and of course, you know the puppy you found in the park. You know, oh, ¿de dónde eres? Where did you come from? Okay, now. For the formal, I'm going to do this so I don't write as much. Put it in parentheses. Okay? So, clase, ¿de dónde es?
¿De dónde es?
¿De dónde es usted?
¿De dónde es usted?
Okay? Remember, once again, depending on where the person's from, they'll either use the pronoun or not. So, makes sense with strangers and people you just met. You want to know where they're from. Someone that you just started working with, or someone that you are starting a new business relationship with. Okay. Once again, Alex here forgets where I'm from. California. All right. So he asked me, Señor Santos, ¿de dónde es usted? And of course, old guy. All right. You see someone visibly older than you. ¿De dónde es? You know, all right. And of course, the answer is the same no matter which one you ask or you get asked. It's just soy de and then the place. That's it. Okay? So, you'll need another 2 or 3 seconds. Turn to that person that you asked before, their name, and find out where they're from. Be sincere. En español.
Soy de ¿y tú? Soy de Utica. Muy bien.
Soy de
Muy bien, muy bien. So, Liliana, mi amiga, ¿de dónde eres?
Soy de Deerfield.
De Deerfield. Muy bien. I'll pretend Alex is like way older than me. Señor Alejandro, ¿de dónde es usted?
Soy de Whitesboro.
De Whitesboro. Muy bien. Natalia, ¿de dónde eres?
Soy de New Hartford.
De New Hartford. Okay. We'll pretend Aaliyah is my boss. Aaliyah, ¿de dónde es?
Soy de Utica.
De Utica. Muy bien. Roberto, ¿de dónde es?
Soy de Whitesboro.
De Whitesboro. Señor Alan, ¿de dónde es usted?
Soy de Little Falls.
De Little Falls y Yacuna. ¿De dónde eres? De Japón. Muy bien. Okay. Questions on this? All right. Perfecto. Now, where is it? Okay. Couple other things, and maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't. Okay. If you didn't, that's okay. Senor Santos is kind of scary. All right. If you notice when I am not familiar with your name, or if I'm trying to, kind of remember it, in Espanol, we tend to use titles a lot more often than we do in English. And so, for example, what does señor mean? Mister. Okay, so with like Robert or Alan, I would say, señor, ¿cómo te llamas? Okay, even if I'm using the familiar, okay, we still, throw out that title. Okay, now, here's where it gets fun, and where, ladies, I will apologize profusely throughout the semester. Spanish is a very, very, very chauvinistic language. Okay. And so most of the things that it does tend to favor the masculine form, okay? And this is kind of sort of one of them. Does anyone know what señora means? Mrs. Okay? M-R-S. What about señorita? Miss. Okay. M-I-S-S. Okay. Now, I should do this. Okay. In English, we have another title, and it's this. MS period. It's pronounced Ms, kind of with a slight Z sound. What does that mean? You're like, I don't know.
I don't know that one.
I thought it meant they weren't married.
Yes.
It doesn't indicate marriage status at all.
Yes. See, all of these are right. See, and I remember this. I was like in 3rd grade when I first heard it. Up until a certain point here in the US and with the English language, because we use it with anything now, or in other English countries now, you were either Mrs., okay, or Miss. You were married or you weren't, okay? When it comes to men, it was always Mr., okay? Guy could be married, guy could be single. And then, of course, the question came up, well, what if a woman's divorced? What if a woman's a widow, okay? What if, all of these other hypotheticals? And so, and I want to say, you can correct me, Alan, around the 1980s, early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, this title started to kind of gain more traction, all right, the Ms., okay? En Español, we do not have that, okay? So you must either identify as married or single, okay? I had a teacher once tell me, this literally means none of your damn business, all right, whether I'm married or single, all right? We don't have that in Spanish, okay? So ladies, sometimes someone might ask you, Natalia, are you married? Okay? They're not flirting. I mean, they might be, but they're probably not flirting with you or trying to, like, pick up on you. What are they trying to do?
Figure out how to refer to you.
Yes, they're trying to figure out how to correctly address you, which title to use. It doesn't matter if Alex is single or married or, whatever. I just call him Senor, okay? Same thing with Rob, all right? Senor, hey, Rob, are you married? Let me see that left. No? Okay. No, it doesn't exist for men. But if I want to address Aaliyah correctly, okay? And I'm so sorry. Are you married? No, okay, so it's Señorita, okay? So now, my mom always taught me to default to Señorita, okay? And so that's what I do. Okay, that's my default. Typically, and this has been my experience, whether I was in Mexico, in Spain, in Argentina, in Venezuela, the ladies will always say, actually, es señora, gracias. Like, I have a man, thank you very much. All right, I'm married. So yeah, okay. So in this case, it's always safer to err on the side of caution and just call everyone señorita, or at least, like I said, that's what my mom taught me. So that's my default. I'll just address you all as señorita. Liliana and Natalia, and if you guys are married, you can just say, actually, Santos, I am married. So it's señora, all right, so okay, señora. You're not married, okay. No, I've had students that have been like, actually, Santos, I am married. I'm like, oh, I guess I need to call you, sorry, not you, but, I need to call you señora then, to properly address you.
Sorry, in French, there is a written equivalent of Ms. There's no spoken equivalent of Ms., but there's a written equivalent.
Really?
Is there a written equivalent in Spanish? Okay.
No. I remember in the mid-90s, okay, and I know that's like before some of you were born, but I remember in the mid-90s, a couple people tried to do seño as, yeah, they made that face. They're like, oh no, God, that just sounds gross. It sounds weird. And typically, when we talk about, gender and Espanol, most feminine things tend to end in A, so the fact that it ended in O, people are like, no, that just doesn't, that's what I call like a guy, seño, and so it didn't catch on.
Not seña?
No, because seña means signal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like seña. It's like, no, she's not making any symbols, any signal, like, so yeah, all right. But when you're talking to someone then, and you don't know their name, señor, señora, señorita. Obviously, with men, you don't have to worry, but always the default is señorita. And where it gets tricky is that when women, and once again, I am so sorry, when women reach a certain age, all right, the shift slowly starts to change where people start addressing them as señora, all right? And it's meant as a sign of respect, but obviously, it's like when my sisters got their first senior discount, they were kind of upset because they're like, my oldest sister's 60 now. And so she's like, what the fuck, I'm still 52, type of thing. And so it's kind of the same thing when you start addressing a woman as señora, and it's just like, but I'm still a señora. Well, I guess I'm not anymore. I'm 54. I guess now I'm a señora, okay, type of thing. So, but like I said, it's always better to be safe, all right, and use the title señorita with women that you don't know. Okay, so hola señorita, if I say to Viviana here, hola señora, she'll be like, what? I don't wear makeup one day and you call me señora now? No, okay, not quite. All right. And those are on page 2, once again, if you have El Libro. Okay. Let's see. We have time for uno más, un poquito más. Now, greetings. No, I'm not greeting you, but greetings. Okay. I had this up before. Does anyone know or remember what buenos dias?
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. If you say good day, we're not British. Okay. It's good morning. All right. So buenos dias. So clase, once again, entertain me. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
All right. Buenos dias. That just means good morning. Okay. We have switched over though since class started. Since class started to buenas tardes. Anyone know or remember buenas tardes? Good afternoon. So clase, please repeat. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Okay, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Okay, and this one's fun. What is buenas noches? Good evening, but it can also mean what? Good night. Yeah. So at the beginning of something, it would be good evening. Let's say we had a night class. This was like a 7 o'clock class. As soon as the class starts, I would say, buenas noches, clase, good evening, class. And then the class dismisses at 9. So at the dismissal, I would say, buenas noches, clase. So good night. Okay, so kind of like aloha, hello, and goodbye. All right, good evening and good night. Okay, now, if I greet, let's say Alejandro here with buenos dias, what's the safest thing to do? Just say it back. Okay, buenos dias. There you go. Okay, he is a polite young senor. All right, now, if you forget, if you draw a blank, if brain fart, okay, here's your default word. Does anyone remember what hola? Hi or hello. We have the same one in Espanol, okay? We don't distinguish between hi and hello. So clase, please repeat, hola.
Hola.
Yeah, that just means hi, all right? If you've watched at least one episode of Dora the Explorer, you know what hola is. And then, of course, it's opposite. Clase, please repeat, adios.
Adios.
What does adios mean? Goodbye or bye. Yeah, okay? However you wish to say it in English. Once again, Dora the Explorer said it at the end of every episode. Okay, adios. Okay, and there you go. All right. Now, your textbook does have a couple of other ways, okay, to say goodbye. And obviously, this is your most basic one, okay? I tend to say this a lot, but that's just me. Clase, please repeat, hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Okay, hasta luego just means see you later. Okay, now, when you say see you later to someone in English, are you going to see them later? Not necessarily. Same thing in Spanish, so don't worry that you're committing yourself to like an appointment or a date or whatever later on. It's just hasta luego, just see you later. Okay, literally it means until later. All right, hasta luego, but we translate it as see you later. Okay, the reason why I bring this up is because if you use the word hasta with a specific point in time, okay, then you are committing, okay? If I know that I'm going to see Rob tomorrow, okay? He says, Mr. Santos, can I stop by your office tomorrow morning? I'm like, well, it's normally not my office hours, but yeah, if it's really quick, you can come by, all right? Clase, hasta mañana.
Hasta mañana.
Mañana means tomorrow. Okay? Hasta mañana. Alright? So I know that Rob is coming to see me. We've made an appointment, and Rob says, okay, gracias, Señor Santos. Thank you. Hasta mañana. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? And so in this case, you can fill it in, all right? You know, maybe Rob says, you know what, Mr. Santos, I know your office hours were this morning, but I have some free time at 3 o'clock. Can I come talk to you at 3? All right, I say, okay, hasta las 3. Hasta las 3, okay? I'll see you at 3, okay? Those of you that have taken Spanish before, do you remember what jueves? Thursday, okay? Once I let you guys go, I mean, the next time I expect to see any of you is El Thursday, El Jueves. So I would say, hasta el jueves. I'll see you on Thursday, hasta el jueves, okay? So if you just say hasta luego, don't worry, you're not committing to anything. You say hasta with something else though, then yeah, there is an expectation that you will be seeing each other. Okay? Preguntas.
Can buenos dias and buenas tardes be also used as a way to say goodbye? And is there a difference?
In most Spanish-speaking countries, no,
Okay.
but there's a few countries where it is used. Don't ask me to tell you which ones, because at the moment I'm drawing a blank. But there's like maybe 2 countries where you can say, oh, buenas tardes, buenas tardes, buenas tardes, you know, and it's understood as a goodbye. Okay? Any other preguntas? Then clase, adios, y hasta el jueves.
Gracias.
I was gonna say, that means leave. No. So, adios, chicos.
Hasta el jueves, profesor.
Gracias. Sí, hasta el jueves.